Hi, I'm Chris Pescott, Managing Director of Perceptive. What I'm here to talk to you about today is the latest 2009 Attitude New Zealand survey. In short, it's a 6-monthly survey of 1,000 New Zealanders into their perceptions, their attitudes and their awareness of brands, personal stress, finance, a whole range of topical issues. So I hope you find this interesting, and let's share a little bit of the results with you. Okay, so one of the most exciting findings that we found was we tested people's levels of stress, and we asked them on a range of different indicators what they felt provided the most stress for them personally. And the two that glaringly came out on top was retirement security and saving ability. So clearly there's a financial stress that's driving a lot of people, and quite a lot higher than the other stress factors like personal life and other more topical things that we might find stressful. Health was very low. So there were a number of things that were a bit surprising there, but retirement security and saving ability very clear in front. When we asked people about their spending behaviour and their likely spending habits, we found out that 82% of people in New Zealand at the moment intend on spending less and saving more, which was quite a high proportion when you're looking at 1,000 people in total. And then what we also found was we asked people if they had any planned purchases over $2,000 in the next 6 months, to which 72% responded no. So they're things like TVs, holidays, fridges, washing machines, high-ticket items within the home. 72% of people saying they're not likely to, or don't have a planned purchase over $2,000 in the next 6 months. We also asked New Zealanders what they plan to do with their tax refund, because clearly there's going to be an excess of money going back to people in the way of refunds, and we wanted to know sort of what people intended to do with that. 62% of everybody getting a tax refund intends on spending it, which is quite an interesting result, and 38% intend to save that money. In terms of where they're going to save it, we asked people whether they trusted New Zealand banks as a safe place to put their money. A resounding 91% of respondents actually mentioned that they feel 100% safe leaving their money in the banks. Another key area of interest for the survey was uncovering people's behaviour around how they use their mobile phone. And we asked a question around whether they use their mobile phone to access the internet, and found that 91% of New Zealanders do not access the internet from their mobile phone at this point in time. Now, whether that's technology driven and that their phones just can't do that or not, that's subjective, but what we have found is that there's very low number of people actually accessing the internet from their mobile phones. We did find that online shopping behaviour was quite high. We asked a question around, in the last 6 months, have you shopped online using a credit card, and 72% of our sample of 1,000 people had shopped online with a credit card in the last 6 months. We then probed around trust of e-commerce websites. We found that 36% of New Zealanders don't trust e-commerce websites, which is still quite high when you consider the sheer volume of people who are actually transacting online. And we continued to ask New Zealanders about their behaviour online, and found some more very interesting insights. The first of which was that 83% of New Zealanders said they were banking online. And we asked them about some of their behaviour, and it's typical banking behaviour: transactions, between accounts, paying bills, checking balances, things like that. So 83% online banking, very, very impressive. And then we tested social media. We found that 88% of New Zealanders feel that social media is here to stay, and that 60% of New Zealanders are actually on Facebook. And we found that when we cross-sectioned that between people over the age of 65, it dropped to 38% on Facebook, which we thought was still quite high. And 6% of New Zealanders using Twitter at the moment, 1% behind MySpace, and 3% ahead of LinkedIn. So it's overtaken, Twitter has overtaken LinkedIn and is rapidly overtaking MySpace. We also uncovered some very interesting insights around trust, and we captured that 75% of New Zealanders actually don't trust businesses, which we thought was quite high. And of that 75% that don't trust it, there's a 55% of that are sort of sitting on the fence. They don't necessarily trust them, but they don't distrust them either. So they're on the neutral field, but very low levels of trust in New Zealand businesses at the moment. We also found that when we tested people's levels of understanding around sustainability, that 71% of New Zealanders actually didn't know what sustainability was, or didn't feel that they understood what it was, which we felt quite high. We also tested people's perceptions on safety in New Zealand, is whether New Zealand is a safe place to live at the moment. 37% said yes, they felt it was safe, but the biggest proportion, 60%, said safe but becoming less so. So the trend being that we are not as safe as we once were. We also tested the perception of New Zealand being a clean, green country. We only found that 22% of New Zealanders agreed with that, and that 56% of New Zealanders felt that we are clean and green, but becoming less so. So we tend to be losing our sustainability mantra and in essence losing our ability to be a clean, green country.